right. Oh, good morning, beautiful people. Welcome back to the second hour of LoveBabz, Love Talk. I'm Babz Rawls-Ivy. This is my favorite thing to do is to talk to people. And I'm wrapping up the Eastern region's Delta on tour, Delta authors on tour. I'm wrapping up the tour with Marsha Campbell. Soror, Marsha Campbell, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? So nice to meet you. So nice to see you.
Likewise. I've heard so much about you, your energy level, and just, I've heard other authors really had a good time on these talks with you. So looking forward to it.
I'm so glad. I think you have on two audios because I hear like you might have to turn off one of your audios, one of them. No, turn that back on so you could talk through this. Are you listening? Do you have two devices going at the same time?
My intention is to speak to you through my phone and not the computer.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me mute the phone.
All right, so I'll just wait till I can hear you. I can't hear you. Because you get I still can't hear you. Nope. So you have to unmute yourself because you're muted. All right, let's see. Well, something happened, you must disconnect it from you disconnected from something. So you're connecting to audio.
Yeah, now I'm going through the computer. Is it better?
Speak again.
Can you hear me well?
I can hear you, but there's a bit of an echo. So I don't know if you have is your phone on still?
No, I hung up on the audio.
Okay.
Should I just rejoin?
Yeah, see if you could come back in and rejoin.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Harry, that makes sense. Yes, you should just come back in. Okay. She's gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could hear her.
It's probably where she's speaking from. There's probably an echo in that room. Yeah,
it sounded like a computer, like she had two. Sometimes you have two devices on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you try to listen to yourself as you are talking.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So anyway, she's coming back on. So, all right. I see her. Let's see. So she's connecting to her audio. I don't hear you yet. All right. So I
Is this better?
Yeah, I still hear it, but that's all right. We'll just continue. We'll just keep it moving. Don't you worry.
Okay.
All right. So I see the cover of your beautiful book, but before we talk about your book, tell me about your writing life. Like when did you know you were a writer?
That's a really good question. I think when I was a little girl, I would always kind of be scribbling things down. So poems, or even just drawing, or just telling stories just through other forms. I didn't actually think of myself as being a writer until I had my daughter. She's 2 years old. And I just found that we were gifted a lot of books, but none of the books were, the content that I wanted her to have. So I would be saying affirmations to her, for example, but I didn't see any books that had affirmations that had Black characters, but also kind of weaved into like a story. So I would say I became a writer 2 years ago when my daughter was born. So always interested, but, didn't really dabble into it officially until this very recently here.
Okay, that's good. So the name of your book, the one, and is it in this book dedicated to your daughter? This is You're Here for a Purpose, Positive Self-Talk for Black Children. So talk about this book a little bit.
So this book, when I was naming the title of the book, I was wondering, okay, should I speak it? Meaning, should I say it's for Black children? Should I just make it generic so I can just kind of make everyone comfortable? But to me, this message is really for our children, our kids. I thought it was really important to put content out there that talked about purpose, but have it, just broken down in a way that little kids can understand. And the book is really for preschoolers, but I've also had readers who, talk to me about like a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old that also reads the book. Even adults are, impacted by the words and the images in the book. So it's just really important for me to put something out there that was about purpose. It was really geared to our children, but, everyone could benefit from reading it, but it was content for our Black children. And just something that they can revisit every day, and just to remind themselves how great they are.
Okay, so tell me about the breakdown of the book. Is it one story? Is it several stories? I don't have the book in front of me, so I don't know how it's set up. So
Right.
talk to me about what it looks like.
Okay, I have the book here too.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So, and it's such a good question that you asked, actually, because the book has 3 main characters. And when I was first writing it, I'm a girl mom, so I naturally thought the main character should be a girl. I don't know. It's just, I'm just conditioned that way, I guess, right now. But the book actually has 3 characters. It has a little Black girl with her dad. So that's one storyline. And then the next storyline is a little Black boy with his grandfather. And then the third storyline is a mixed race girl with her Black mom. So it's kind of 3 Black characters, girl, boy, girl. And it tells like 3 different stories, but they're all connected on the thread of purpose.
Oh, okay. So talk about some of the story. Tell me about which one is your favorite story?
Oh, that's so hard.
I know it's like I'm asking you, what's your favorite child?
Yeah, which is my favorite child? I mean, it's probably got to be the first one, honestly. The first story with the girl and her dad. She's a sweet little girl. She's about 5 years old. And her dad is, like a young hip guy with dreadlocks. He's wearing like Jordans. And there's just something just also sweet about a little girl with her dad. Mm-hmm. That is a relationship that is like no other. So that one always makes me feel just a little squishy inside, that first storyline.
So what is their story? Like, what is the affirming words for her?
So it starts out with the girl with her dad, and they're sitting down, and she has her little puppy in her hand. And the first thing, and this is the dad speaking to her. That's how I envision it. So it says, "You're here for a purpose. I know it's true. The world would be an incomplete puzzle without you." And, we need our parents, especially our dad, to speak that life into us at such a young age. The next words, if I can just read some, just
go
from
ahead.
that first storyline. So
would love to hear it.
The next page is him. She's in bed and he's tucking her in. And he says, "Your brown skin and curly hair are one of a kind, perfectly crafted, a beautiful design. Your bright eyes, full lips, and shape of your nose are unique and wonderfully composed." So the next kind of page is, her dad's gone. Now she's in bed by herself. And she's like speaking, self-talk to herself. So it says, "God whispered your name long before you came. The world without you would not be the same. You're incredible. So let your light shine through. Encourage yourself. It's the first thing you should do."
Oh, that is lovely. And it sounds like it's like an easy read. So parents won't feel intimidated by the book. Kids can learn how to read it for themselves. So it sounds like it's was that deliberate? Like, did you want kids to be able to read this on their own and parents be able to read it with them?
Yeah, so my kids are little. I have a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old. So at this age, they can't read.
Little.
little. Let me tell you, I'm going through it, but it's fun. It's fun. So my intention is, for the little ones, babies, you would read it to them. And as they get a little older, preschool, kindergarten, they would be reading it to themselves. But it's interesting that you asked about the pace. So it's just long enough where if the child is an older child, you can read the entire thing in just one sitting before bedtime. And if it's a baby, then you just break it up, maybe 3-4 pages a night, and you can cover it all like in 3 days.
Oh, okay.
And what I do, I have pictures on every single page. So every one page
Yeah,
will
feel
have
free to hold
words.
it up. Hold it up.
Yeah, there we go. Let me hold it
Because
up.
I bet you, because I see the illustrator's name on the book. So I know it's beautifully illustrated. Okay. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm a girl for the moon. So any kind of night moon thing, I'm wild for.
I'm telling you.
So when you worked with the illustrator, what was that relationship like? What was that collab like?
Yeah, it's actually a lot harder than I thought. This is my very first book. And when I first reached out to the illustrator, I thought I could just kind of give him just, hey, this is my vision. But when I did that, what he reflected back to me wasn't what was in my head. So what I had to do is really put a storyboard together for him and just say, hey, this is what I want my character to look like. And I had to kind of show him, I wanted to have these features. So here's an example of a little girl. I like her hair in this picture. I'd like my girl to have hair like this. Or, you see the skin color or the facial features of this girl. I want my girl to have. So I had to actually show him images in order for him to get a visual of what I was thinking. And then he would actually create something that was, a mix of what I showed him in imagery and also like what my words said that I wanted. So I had to tell him, it's a little girl. She looks like this. Her dad looks like this. He has dreadlocks. Here's an example of a young man with dreadlocks, So I had to actually give him images so he could actually see what I was envisioning. And once we did that, then he was able to get closer. And actually, as the book progresses, I actually like the look of the characters even better because I think him and I got in sync the further we progressed throughout the book.
So how long was the collaboration? Like, how long did it take to get from your vision to the finished product?
A year.
Really?
Yeah, it took a year. Probably partly because I'm working. I'm not a full-time author, so I'm working full-time. I had a baby at the time. My little Aria, she was maybe 1 year old when I was actually finally able to start working on it. So it's just probably time. And then my illustrator was international, so then the time zone was also just something we had to work through. So I had to stay up late. If I wanted to actually work with him live, I had to stay up until 2 a.m. and then he would actually be live for a couple hours. And then, so we were working through that too. But
so how did you find your illustrator? Like, how do you go to Illustrators R Us? Was it word of mouth? Did your publishing house say, oh, we have somebody we think you might want to work with? Like, how did that work?
I'm actually self-published, so I didn't have any of that help. I had to just kind of just do it on my own. There's this platform called Fiverr where you can go and you can connect.
Oh, I do know that platform. Yes.
And you can connect with freelancers and just people who are working independently, from website designers to illustrators to writers to resume, proofreaders. Like, there's no end to the list of services that they offer. So I actually went through Fiverr and I was just looking through the illustrators that had my style. Because there's so many different styles of illustration. This one is more cartoony and I wanted that style, but I could have picked something that's more like a computer, graphic or something that is a different style of illustration. But I wanted something that was more cartoony. So I went with him based on what I saw as samples that he did for other people.
And so you reach out and do you have a conversation and
no live conversation. It was all just, just back and forth messaging. So I never actually got on a Zoom with him. I never saw him. I never had a phone conversation with him. Everything was just through messages, Hi, I'm Marsha. Wow. I'm writing this book. This is the kind of characters that I would like. And can you do something like this? And it was just like that back and forth. And yeah, he broke the book up maybe into 5 parts and this would deliver things to me iteratively.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, that's a huge leap of faith.
Yeah. And it started out rocky, believe me, because
I was gonna ask
some of the characters, I'm like, no, this girl's not cute. We got to start over.
I was going to ask you, were there moments where you're like, oh, is this the right? Am I going in the right direction? Am I doing the right,
Yes.
Were there moments when you just felt unsure?
There are moments where I felt unsure and I was just thinking, man, should I have picked a Black artist, a Black illustrator? because, we know our features. We're not going to exaggerate noses and mouths. We think of those things as beautiful. So we're going to draw our characters with a different level of care. So I was having some doubts in the beginning because, wherever he was from, I think Singapore or something, he was pretty far away and probably not a ton of Black people where he lived. So I had to just keep, showing him images of, what the girl looks like. Hey, this is how I want her Black hair to look, and just showing him pictures of just girls I would see on the internet, little girls on the internet. So he can see, okay, this is the texture of the Black hair, or I don't want her to have an afro. I want her to have, so there was like a little, there was a disconnect initially, and it was hard. But eventually I think he got the gist of it. Mm-hmm. And I really do like the way that the characters turned out. Okay. But there's a few attempts at like the dreadlocks. The dreadlocks are like kind of weird, like Medusa at first. And then, he figured out, okay, she wants it to lay down. So.
But that's I mean, now after the fact, you could probably think that was a wonderful sort of example of sharing our culture with somebody who doesn't know our culture and working with them. I mean, now when you look back on it, what do you think? What do you see? What do you know? What would you do differently?
In terms of just the book process or the illustration process?
The illustration, all of it.
Yeah, that's such a good question. I mean, I just love everything about the book.
Oh, good.
I think if I were to go back and do things differently, I would probably focus just more on marketing. So I've been so focused on like the creation process, but there's a whole business side to this thing, So like you create this wonderful product that you're so proud of, but then no one knows about it, So how do you get it out there? How do you promote it? What are the spaces that you need to kind of show up in so people, know what you have to offer, understand the message? So that's what I would probably do again is, the marketing. And the Delta Authors on Tour is such a wonderful platform because it helps to connect you to the business side of the book. Mm-hmm. So like even like this interview, how would I have found you if it wasn't for the Delta Authors on Tour? So it's the marketing and the publicity side of it that I haven't really quite mastered yet. So yes, I would do that differently. I would study that a little bit more and introduce that into my process.
Well, you've got Charmaine Louise Shelton, who is a master at this. You might want to have a side conversation with her about how she gets these. I mean, because she puts out books every few months. She's got a large platform, and she's got the algorithms and all that back end stuff tight. So you might want to have a conversation to get a few pointers from her, and she's quite impressive.
Okay, see, the creation is one thing, but the business, that's a whole another machine.
Because you want people to see the book, you want people to read the book, you want the book to show up in spaces, and you don't always want to be the one carrying it to spaces. You want other people to carry it to spaces. So you have to create a network so that can happen. So, is there another book in you?
There are 2 more books that I have in mind. I haven't written them yet. I have the concept down. Like I have like 2 pages from each one, but I have a little one. I have a 7-month-old. So this one is just not letting me sleep right now. So as soon as she starts sleeping through the night, that is my next goal, is to start just dedicating a couple hours every day to crank out the next 2 books.
Now, are you going to stay in the children's genre, or are you going to branch out and do a novel?
No, I don't think I have a novel in me. I think I need to just stick to children's books where I can do illustrations and a few pages and a few words. Just keep it simple. But I'm really enjoying the children's book space. I really am.
I think in the last, there's always been Black books for children, but now they're way more accessible. Now there's sites you can go to albc.com and they got a whole genre of children's books and other kinds of books and parenting books. So we're not it's not like we have to go over the river and through the woods to find books about us, for us, to us. Tell me about liking the children's book space. Have you met other authors in this genre?
Yeah, it's just an interesting time, right? Because we've been locked away for like 2 years,
Yeah.
and the spaces that you would normally kind of go and interact with other writers in your genre, conferences, things like that, those haven't really been allowed. So people are having to kind of navigate like virtual space, which it's just not as intimate. Like, you're just not able to share as much with each other. I do know a couple of children's book authors. One is a really good friend of mine, and she's been able to kind of help me on my journey. But as the world kind of opens back up, I'm looking to definitely start to, connect with other authors. And, like you said, there's things that we can learn from each other. There's some people who have mastered the Amazon algorithm, they're selling volumes, the self-promotion, part of it, they've learned. I'm self-published. So that's part of the reason why there's so many Black books that are on the market, is because of people are just putting out content, themselves. But self-published is a whole nother space. And you have to have tools to help you. There's no publishing company behind you putting you into the right interviews or spaces or podcasts or whatever. You're just kind of on your own. So I think that sense of community amongst other children's writers would actually really do me well.
So you said you only have 2 more books, or 2 that you can think of working on, and then there might be like 100 more behind that.
Oh, I like the way you're thinking. I have two books right now that I have drafted. I probably have 2 pages each in them. They're going to be still in the affirmation space. So one of them, let me grab the exact title real quick. And this is a tentative title, actually.
That's fine. I mean, the fact that you're thinking about what's next, it has to be exciting.
It is exciting. So one of them is going to be for little girls. And tentative title is I Am a Dreamer, Fearless Woman in Black History. And the idea behind this book is that there's a little girl, I'll call her a dreamer. And in her dreams, she's going to meet 20 trailblazing Black women in history, from artists to scientists to actress, et cetera, through the magic of time travel. So she's going to travel through time and meet all of our treasures, all of our Black treasures, our historic figures. And then I'm going to mirror that with a book for boys, same concept, I Am a Dreamer, Heroic Men in Black History.
I love it. I love it. Oh, that's great. So now, are you an avid reader yourself? I mean, you probably don't have time because you got 2 babies underfoot, but prior to babies, are you a reader?
Prior to babies, I used to read a lot, love to read. And also I really liked the kind of, I don't want to say self-help, but, the space where you're kind of always
empowerment books.
There you go. Self-empowerment books, speaking positive things, being intentional every day about, waking up with the right energy, attract what you put out. Like that type of content has always been interesting to me. So I used to read a lot of that before kids. Now I don't have any time to read anything. Just children's books. I have time to read children's books. I read one of those every day to my kids, but nothing for fun right now. Nothing for mommy.
Well, it's hard. I mean, it's hard. Listen, I'm a mom. I have 4 kids. I get it. I understand it. So and reading to them at bedtime is quite important, because that strengthens their language skills and their brain development, and
that's right.
You can just pour into them. So I understand. God bless you, girl. I understand it. So let's, so many. I've talked to so many authors in the last week, and I'm always curious about, how do you find time to in all your busyness and comings and goings, how do you find time to carve out that time for yourself, to keep yourself focused and balanced and calm and self-cared for? What is your ritual or routine or habit?
Unrelated to writing. This is just self-care. That's the question. Is it related to writing or just taking care of Marsha?
Just taking care of Marsha. Like,
Okay.
how does Marsha take care of Marsha?
I'm not doing a very good job, I have to say.
99% of Black women aren't.
Not doing a good job. Well, what do I do? So what I found myself doing is if I can get one baby down, then I'll bring the other baby with me into my office and get on the treadmill for like 30 minutes. Or I may, if they're both sleeping by some miracle, then I'll turn on like one of my TV shows that I'm behind on and catch up on. Unfortunately, that's kind of it in the self-care realm. I don't do nails. I don't do anything like that. Not right now. I had to turn off all those maintenance things. I do try to get my hair like done, like maybe like every couple of months, just get it braided because it's low maintenance and it's kind of worth the time investment to do it up front.
Yes,
but yeah,
yes.
I need some help on the self-care. So if you have any tips, please do share.
Well, listen, there's a sister on this tour who has a health book, holistic health book. I don't know if you've met her. Let me see what her name is. And she has a wonderful health book. And you really ought to talk to her because I think she will offer some tips, because her thinking is, if we do the preventative things now, it will help us in the long run, so that we are, so we're not putting off the things that we need to do for ourselves until crises hits,
That's right. That's right.
So I'm encouraging all you wonderful authors to take care of yourselves in between getting these books out and raising children and climbing careers and all of that. So tell me about the best part of writing this book that you enjoyed the most, that you didn't see coming.
What is the part that I enjoyed the most? This is a good question. Yeah, I mean, maybe this experience actually.
Talking about your book.
Just even being selected for the tour, just being selected as one of the authors for the tour, and just being put into this process. Like some of the things that they've asked us to do, I hadn't done before. Like, for example, put together like an order form, that has this criteria in it, so that we can, build like an automation so people can purchase the book. Okay, that sounds so simple. Like my book's on Amazon. So if you want the book, you just go to Amazon. I didn't have like an order form, for someone to fill out. So it kind of forces you to, it's that business aspect that that this tour just kind of introduces. So the order form. I went down to New Haven last week to actually do like, the photos.
I know, I was there.
I missed you. I think you came, you left at 5.
I left way before 5.
No, I think they said you left like shortly before I got there, but you had been there a while, and they had a lot of fun with you. So I took that drive out there and like recording, and like I had no idea any of that was coming, but it's such a good experience. I had to put my script together, what are you going to say, and rehearse it, and then go in front of the videographer and have him record you. Like, I didn't expect any of that, but it's just been the sweetest experience. So yeah, I didn't expect to be selected for the tour, but I'm really enjoying the experience so far, and it's really maturing me as an author and as a businesswoman as well.
And so I would imagine, or I'm hoping, that this experience grows you to the point where you're like, you know what? Yes, I'm doing the right thing. I want to be doing this. I want to be writing these books.
Yeah, I think so. I think the more the book gets into people's hands, and the more that I'm getting, positive feedback, the more I take a look at even the Amazon reviews. What are people saying, about the book? The more positive feedback I receive, the more it encourages me, to put more content out, and just stay kind of working in this space. I don't think there's a lot of books in this space, the self-talk, but also, really for children, that also weaves in affirmations with storytelling. I think it's like a unique space. sure, you can find any number of books that says, I am great, I am beautiful, but is there a story element to it? And is it using, our people, our little sweet little kids? Is it showing, hardworking dads and moms, in addition to telling a story, in addition to having affirmations? I don't know that I've seen it threaded quite that way. So yeah, I'm enjoying the space, and I think this experience and hearing feedback from people is really helping me to want to continue to stay in this space.
Oh, I love it. My producer Harry wants to know if he should buy the book on Amazon or wait to buy it elsewhere, because he has beautiful granddaughters, and that first story looks like his son, his son-in-law, and his daughter. So his daughter's married to a brother with dreadlocks, and they have 3 daughters. And those little girls look like this little girl in this book.
Okay.
So he wants this. Now he's gonna have to buy 3 books, because three different girls, they're gonna want their own books. But
he's gonna have to buy 3 different. Here's a book cover. It's on Amazon. You will find it there, and absolutely buy multiple copies, and please leave an Amazon review. That is really the thing that helps out so much. The sales, of course, help, but the reviews that people leave, that other interested readers review, is really what kind of pushes Amazon to continue to show the book to buyers. And that Amazon algorithm that you mentioned before, yeah, the more reviews are there, the more they'll start to show the book to people, and people will buy it because it's being presented to them through Amazon's algorithm.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I so enjoyed talking to you, Marsha Campbell, Soror Marsha Campbell, about your beautiful book. And I'm looking forward to the actual April event for the Eastern Region's Delta Authors on Tour event. So I will see more of you. And I can't wait to see what your video looks like, and when it's all pulled together.
Me too. I'm literally looking forward to that. It was a good experience. Nervous, I was a little nervous, but it's a good experience. And even this has been such a wonderful conversation with you. So thank you for having me and for asking some probing questions. And this has been a really good experience. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on. I've enjoyed it. Your book is beautiful. I wish you every success. When you write that other book, don't wait for Delta's Authors on Tour to come back. Just call me up and say, I'd like to come back on and talk about my new book.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I will probably hold you to that. I appreciate it.
I want you to hold me to it. I want you to consider this as a place where you can come and share your book. I welcome
you so much. Thank you so much. All right, Soror. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Okay.
All right, Harry. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
So, Harry, I'm on my way out. Don't forget, Harry, I have jury duty tomorrow, so I hope Paul is sitting in the big chair for me. And I'll be back on Friday, good people, with the great guest on Friday. So I'll see y'all. Have a good one.